Welcome to the Daily Devo. My name is Jeremy, and today I want to answer the question, who is the greatest in the kingdom of God? Sports fans love to argue about just about everything to do with sports. But a classic argument is, who is the greatest of all time? Sports hosts argue for hours upon hours about who is the greatest. Is it Michael Jordan? Nope, it's LeBron James. Nope, it's Wilt Chamberlain. Nope, it's Kareem. And every single one of them can argue until they're blue in the face about how their guy is the greatest. The problem is, this argument is subjective, and the water gets muddied up with things like, what era did they play in? How many other All-Stars were on the team? How many championships did they get? It ends up becoming an argument that no one wins, and no one changes their mind about who they think the greatest is. If you think MJ is the greatest basketball player of all time, then there is nothing a LeBron James fan can say to dissuade you. As a culture, we celebrate and value exceptional people. People who are so insanely gifted that we will spend time defending and arguing for people that we've never actually met. Think about that. We invest time and energy and resources and fight for people who don't know us and don't care. It's pretty wild. In the verses we want to go over today, Jesus is attempting to change his disciples' thinking. They didn't understand God's kingdom. They constantly were competing against each other and other people about who is the greatest in the kingdom of God. Jesus ends the debate by spelling it out so clearly for them. We find this in Matthew chapter 18, verses 1 through 4. The verses say, "At the time the disciples came to Jesus and asked, 'Who then is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?' He called a little child to him and placed the child among them. And he said, 'Truly I tell you, unless you change and become like a little child, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever takes the lowly position of this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven.'" How strange that must have been for the disciples. I could picture Peter and John staring at each other thinking, is he for real? The greatest in the kingdom is like a child. What's special about these random children? It's God's kingdom, so he gets to choose what is celebrated and what is exceptional. In our culture, it's people who play sports or play instruments that are celebrated. They achieve fame, and in the kingdom of God, it's coming to God humbly like a child. Children are looked after, not looked up to. Isn't that what God does for us? He looks after us. We're at our worst when we try to do stuff without him. Children aren't threatening. Any angst that we have towards being around children isn't because they're physically intimidating. In the kingdom of God, we shouldn't carry an intimidating presence. People shouldn't fear approaching us to talk or ask questions. Jesus knew that we would need to be converted to be like children. It isn't in our nature to take the low place or humble ourselves. Charles Spurgeon said, "Children do not need to be humble, for they are so. And the same is the case with really gracious people. The imitation of humility is sickening. The reality is attractive. There is nothing worse than false humility." Jesus sets an example for us. He is the greatest in the kingdom, and he walks in humility. You and I need to practice this. What can you do regularly that helps you walk in humility? Maybe it's as simple as doing a task that you think you're above. Practice humility. Think about that today. If you want to be great in the kingdom, become like a child. Thanks for joining us today on the Daily Devo.